Research Log 103. During a routine sweep, recovery teams encountered a previously undocumented still-life entity carrying a tool gun. The subject was transported for observation and behavioral testing. The subject was secured for observation to determine whether it retained memories, or simply the actions of what a player would do. Official documentation states the subject was peacefully sedated during recovery. Upon intake, researchers identified a pronounced bruise on the back of the head, suggesting the subject had instead been subdued by physical force. Requests for clarification from the recovery team have received no response. This is the tool gun recovered from the still-life entity designated Tool Gun Welder. Externally, the device is nearly identical to a standard Garry's Mod tool gun, to what we see the players use. Visible signs of wear suggest prolonged use prior to recovery. Power readings remain unusual. Despite the absence of any conventional power source, the internal systems continue to operate. We have been unable to explain how the device remains functional. The tool gun was removed under conditions for further analysis. Although the subject offered no resistance, it immediately acknowledged the loss, keeping its gaze fixed on the confiscated device, as though waiting for its return. We've begun to suspect the tool gun is no longer responding to mechanical inputs alone. It may be linked to the subject itself. Until further notice, the tool gun will remain isolated from the entity. Additional interaction has been suspended pending approval from the A.R.C administration. Communication trials have produced a single consistent result. The subject remains entirely motionless until the tool gun is mentioned. Upon hearing those words, it immediately acknowledges the speaker, as though the object retained significance beyond our current understanding. Following multiple unsuccessful communication trials, A.R.C administration has approved the temporary return of the confiscated tool gun to the subject. The decision follows repeated observations that the subject only responds to verbal references concerning the device. For the record, the subject has remained completely unresponsive to direct commands and personnel movement. The tool gun remains the only confirmed for behavioral change. The objective of today's test is straightforward. Determine whether physical contact with the tool gun restores additional cognitive function or simply reinforces previously documented behavior. Containment teams are standing by. Should the subject display any unexpected activity, the experiment or the subject will be terminated immediately. Begin test.
Before you proceed, are you certain about this? Keep the tool gun out of the subject's reach until you're ready. If it reacts unexpectedly, we'll have very little time to respond.
A.R.C administration has authorized the test. We're moving forward. Containment barriers are active. Security teams are in position. The tool gun has been returned to subject. Observation indicates the subject has resumed movement.
All units, remain on standby. Eyes on the subject. Do not enter the chamber unless ordered. Doc, is that a firearm?
Containment breach attempt. All personnel, move away from the window.
Security team Bravo responding. Chamber lockdown initiated. Subject is refusing compliance.
Terminate this threat. Recover the anomalous weapon and re-establish containment immediately. It isn't responding to verbal commands. End the test.
Authorized response in effect. Subject terminated.
God damn it!
This recording serves as a follow-up to the test. The experiment has been classified as a containment failure. The subject has been declared neutralized. Biological and anomalous examinations remain ongoing. Initial inspection confirms the subject's physiology remains unlike any known human anatomy. Tissue samples have been collected for future analysis. We hope to determine whether the still life condition is biological or something else entirely. Attention has shifted to the anomalous objects produced by the tool gun during the experiment. Thus far, we have catalogued 7 distinct weapons: a distorted shotgun, a distorted submachine gun, a distorted pistol, a distorted revolver, and a distorted police stun stick. The other 2 weapons are unique: a distorted rocket launcher and a distorted gravity gun. If the tool gun is capable of producing these weapons, we have no reliable method of predicting what may appear next. Also, there's one more thing I need to go over quick. Camera teams continue to report sightings of an additional Gmod player wandering around. They don't match our personnel records at all. They also report a tall figure that resembles them. Suspend all solo recovery operations. Until we understand if these players become or where they come from, every unidentified survivor is to be considered an anomaly. We need recovery teams to expand to the outer sectors to find them. End recording.